Hi guys, so I've been asked to show how you warp up the Inkle Loom for doing the speckled pattern, which creates, this is a pick-up pattern you can do on the speckled, which you would have seen in one of my previous videos of the basic setup. The two different types of setup you can do on a Inkle Loom, speckled or plain weave. They're the basic types, but some people are struggling to do the actual setup, so I'm going to show a video on how to do that. So what I've done down here is I've shown how we're setting up. So what this does is the top one with an O, that means open, and the one below it with the H is a heddle. And each colour corresponds to the colour of thread, and whether it's going to be an open or whether it's a heddle. And these here just shows the number of the threads and how many you need of each. You will find that I will pronounce heddle. I will get it mixed up a lot. Please don't moan at me about it. I have health conditions that mess with my brain and I don't get words pronounced correctly. I know what they are, but my mouth doesn't say them, so please don't criticise me. You know what I mean, and if you know what I mean, it doesn't matter if I've pronounced it wrong, does it really? So if you don't like that, instead of being rude, just move along and find a video where they get everything perfect. But for now, I'm going to move on and show you how to do this. So this is your basic Inkle Loom, and if you don't know much about an Inkle Loom, please go to my first video on Inkle Looms, which explains much more about what an Inkle Loom is. I'm not going to go through any of that today, but I've already prepped my heddles, or heddles, whatever you want to call them, which after doing this chart tells me I needed 22 of them, so that's what I've got ready. If any of them break, I do have the cotton with me to make more. And I have the threads that I'm going to be doing. Now, there's two different ways you could do this. If you want a smooth flat surface, use threads that are the same thickness. If you want the pattern, which in this case would be this one, to stick above the background, you'd use something that was thicker for the pattern threads than the background threads. So this is a 4-ply and this is a DK. So if I wanted the pattern to stick up, I'd use this, but I'm going for a smooth one, so I'm just going to use 2 4-ply threads. Okay, I'm going to pop them on the floor if I can find the end there, because it's usually easy to feed them from the floor. So I'll just pop that there, and this one here for the minute. Just resting them there a minute. Okay, so looking, don't just film me, at this, we can see the first thread, and come above there, the first thread we want is above, and that's the open heddle. So we're going to go with open first, and it's blue. I've chose blue for my background, and I've chose pink for my pattern threads, and in this case it's 13 pattern threads. So first just make a little slip knot. It doesn't have to be brilliant, we're just going to hook it on to there. Now if you want a full explanation on how you warp up an Inkle Loom, please watch the original video. I'm not going to go through everything now. This is just purely to show how to do the speckled setup. So we're going to go along here, across, and I'm just doing a straight round. I'm not doing backwards and forwards on this one. So we're just going to go round and there. And we know the second one, which is a heddled thread. I'll try and move that in here. Maybe you can see it. I don't know if you'll be able to, but we can try. So now we need a heddle. So grab a heddle. Heddle, I don't know. My mouth will say what it wants. And what you want to do is pop it on here. Just lay it out the way for a minute. And then you're going to come up and over, and you're going to take this and you're going to thread it down and across. So that has gone over the top. Again, if you want to see that in more detail, please watch the original How to Thread an Inkle Loom video. But now that one is now on there. And you'll notice we've gone up over the bar for this one. And we're just going to follow it around, and we look what we want for string number 3, which again is a blue because these are the background threads. And we know because it's on the upper line it's an open, so we're just going to go over it like that. And then pop it around, and now we're on to string 4, which again is a blue, but this one is a heddle, so we grab one. Pop it on. Ooh, really want one. Pop it on. Go up there and take that and take it over. Over the top there. And the background. I have just got to see why my other camera isn't focusing. Okay, hopefully the other camera's going to focus so that you can see. I'm hoping to have it filmed from the front end as well so that you can see closer. But my camera's having a few issues, so it may not. So, as you see, we've done 2 heddles and 2 opens. So we're on number 5, which you can now see if you follow the pattern along. We want pink. So just tuck the blue out of the way. Don't worry about just cutting it, just tuck it out of the way. Grab your pink, and again, like we did with the blue, I'm going to create the slip knot, pop it on. It doesn't matter that it's crossing over the other threads for the minute. And we know pink is on the top line, so it's an open, so we're just going to go across there and around. But we only want one pink, we're back onto blue, so just tuck the pink around the cross there, the hook that you've got, and we're going to go back to working with the blue. And blue, we now know is a heddle because it's the next one on the list. And you're always going to do 1 open, 1 heddle, 1 open, 1 heddle. It's always going to be that, it doesn't change. So just get that, tuck it over, pop it in, pop it on. So that's 6. 7 is blue again because for Speckled we're doing 1 pattern, 2 background, 1 pattern, 2 background, and it just follows that along. So as we've done the 1 pattern there, we're doing 2 backgrounds, and it doesn't matter that one's open and one heddle. One is heddled and one is open. They count as 2 backgrounds. That's all that matters. And you'll always have one doing 1 open and 1 on heddle. That's the way it works. It's supposed to do that. So go around. Now we know we've done 2 backgrounds. We now know, without even having to look at our chart, that we now need a pattern again. So grab your pink, pop your blue out of the way there. Your cords will get a little tangled around here, but don't worry, just keep an eye on it and untangle them if it gets too far. It's just easier than having lots of ties. And we did an open last, as you can see, so we're going to go up and we're doing a heddle. And then just following that path around as we do. And remember, it was only 1 pattern, so we swap back over to the background blue, pop the pink in the hook there so it's just out of our way. And remember, the background, the pink pattern was a heddle, so we're doing open. Around, and second background colour, remember it's 2, so now we are doing heddled because the last one was open. And back around. And you see how it's building up. So every other one goes on the top for a heddle, every other one goes open, down and straight across there. And that's what's creating your shift. Now I'm going to apologise about the focus. It is doing it again, and I don't know how to fix this because this camera is a little dodgy for the secondary angle. See if you can see that from there. This is an old camera for the focus, and as you can probably tell, it doesn't like to focus very well. I'm going to attempt to get it to focus again. Hold on. Okay, so you can see we've just done a heddled blue, but the one before that is an open blue, so we're on to a pattern. So swap over. Change, and you just have to keep following this pattern along where it's one pattern thread to 2 background threads, and then seeing whether you need to do an open or a heddle depending on the last one you've done. In this case we've done a heddle, so we're going to go open. And the way to keep count is to know how many pattern threads you're doing. Once you've got your 13 pattern threads, you can easily jump along and see that you need 4 background threads to finish, because that's what we've done for the edge. You can have as many as you want on the edge, that's a personal preference. Just for this setup I've done 4, but you can do more or less, it's up to you. But the last one was open, so we're going to go up to the top and we're going to do the heddled. And if you've forgotten already, this one is doing the speckled, also known as the Baltic, I think it is. Again, pronunciations, don't shoot me. And there's a couple of other names for it too, so just Google if you're not sure, and you might find that you know it under a different term, but it gives kind of a dotted look to your work, which I will show. So we've done heddle, so we're on open, go around, and that's 2, so now we're going to swap to the colour, the pattern thread rather, which is the pink colour for us. We're just going to do one, which we can see is a heddle. So we pop that on, and then we're going to pop that over the top and fold that down. And as we only want one patterned thread, we switch back over to the background and we do our 2 backgrounds, which is the next one is open, and then we want a heddle. So grab one. They do like to stick together, so have fun separating them. But okay, over, pop that one over, it pulls it down. So that's 2 blues, so we know we're on to pattern thread now, which is the pink, because we already have 2 backgrounds. I'm probably going to have to untwist my cones in a minute. So we know that we've done a heddle, so we are open. And that one, switch over. And you can see how you can easily and quickly get into the swing of doing this once you've got that pattern down. So we've got an open, so we want a heddle, so before we go up we need to attach that one on there, go up, and you remember we're just pulling it over and hooking it on. Remember, if you're not sure how to create your heddles, please do check out my original video showing you how to warp, because it does show you on there how to do it. Okay, so we've done 1 blue and a heddle, so we'll go the next blue open, and then we're switching back to the pattern thread. And at this point my cones are very twisted together. I think we can carry on working for a little bit. So as you see, we had open, so we need a heddle. And up, and then over, and pull it on down. You'll know you've got your heddles correct when you're capable of lining it up so all your strands line in the perfect line there, and you can just move them. See, if I move them down there, that's created that shed there. If I move them up, it's separated them the other way. You want them to be roughly in line, and then you'll use your hands to take these up and down from this side, and that's how you want it for the line. So I'm going to switch over to the next one. Okay, so we've done this one on our blue. Sorry, my other camera decided to go funny on me again. Okay, so we did a header, so we're on open. Ooh. Now, make sure you push these all along, because that will help stopping it falling off the edge. Of course, that was one blue, so we want another, but as we know, it needs to be a header because the last one was open. And go around, untangle my thread there before I switch over to the pattern thread again. Now these will be getting twisted underneath here as we're switching over, but that doesn't matter because they'll just slide the twist down to the beginning, and you will be cutting off that section anyway because the beginning part never gets used. It's the lining up and the tying off ends, so don't worry about them crossing over at that point. So we've done a header, so we are on open. And what you can do is have a look and see how many pattern threads you've got at this point. I can secure that in place a minute. You can just lay it out and have a look and see by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pink threads there. And if you want to double check, you can go to separately and go 1, 2, 3, 4 there and 1, 2, 3 there, confirming you have 7 pattern threads so far. And of course we're doing 13, so we're almost halfway, or basically halfway. So we've just done the pattern, so we want the background thread. I've just thrown one of my petals. Let me pick it back up. There we go. And we need a header at this point because the last one was open. So we go up and over. And don't worry about the tension being slightly off because that's what you're going to do with your tensioning knob wherever it is on your Inkle Loom, because different Inkle Looms have it differently. As long as you've kept it roughly even through this, your tension knob will tighten that up. So don't worry about pulling it really tight. You don't have to hurt your hands, keep trying to keep it all tensioned. So we've done open. And we need to do second background. So we've done headed, we need to do open. Remember it's 2 to 2, so 2 to 1 ratio. See, words, they come out of my mouth incorrectly even though I know what I mean. You just have to get used to that with me, I'm afraid. So now we've done open, so we need to do a header, but my threads are getting a little tangled here, so let me just untangle them a little. It's just where they're twisting down on the bottom on the cones. As I said, you could go along and untwist them as you go, and if I was setting up on my own, I normally would, but as I'm trying to get this done a little faster so that you can see it on camera without having to take forever, I haven't actually bent down and untwisted them. But I recommend once you're setting up on your own, make sure you untwist your cones or your balls at regular intervals. Okay, so that was a header, so we do open, one background, second background. Again, this one will need to be headed, so over the top, done. Switch over to the pattern thread. Bit. I want this one to be open. forget to push these along to make sure they don't come off, and it keeps them all neatly lined up. I'm going to switch again because we only want one pattern thread. And now we want 2 background threads. Now we just did an open, so we're going to do a header. If this will detach from the other ones. And then we want the second blue, which will be obviously an open. Just take my pink one down. There we go. Blue on there. Okay, I think at this point we're going to have to untwist my threads because they are getting a little too tangled here, so bear with me while I just untwist them. There we go. All untwisted. Okay, so we just did 2 blue, so we're going on to the pink pattern thread, which you can see we did open last, so we're going to do a header. They separate, okay. And I'm going to switch over to the blue. We'll do 2 blues, so that's our 2 backgrounds. The next one we want is open, and then we're going to want a header. So we've done our 2 blue backgrounds, so we want our pattern next. And we did header, so we're going open. And switch them around again, because remember we only want 1 pattern thread. And as we did open last time, we want header. Now if you've counted correctly, once you've done your last header, you have to do 1 open and you're done. But you can double check once we're done. So we've just done our header, so we want open on the blue. And we're going to switch to our pattern. And we want header. Back to our background thread. Remember we did header, so we go open. And then we want header. Remember to give them all a push to keep them nice and lined up on all your bits. And that's 2, so we're going into our pattern thread. Should we check how many we got a minute? Because I haven't checked for a little bit and we're getting low on our headers, so we might be there already. So line this up. Just give them a little movement if you need to help line it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's double check here because they were a little twisted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, we've got 6 up here and 6 here, so giving us 12 total. So this one is our last pattern thread. And we did a header, so we're going open. And that's your last pattern thread. So at this point, you can just snip your pattern colour off, and when we put that around this time, we can actually tie it in a little knot around, not tight because we would need to be able to take it off later, but just give it a little knot to hold it in place. And then we're going to do our blue ones. My cone has just ran away, but hopefully we can just keep working with it, wandering around the room. So we did an open, so we need to do a header. And now we want to do a open, and that would be a 2 that you'd have, but as you know we are doing our background threads and our edge threads with the blue, so we'll also have 2 more blues to go to be our outer edges. Okay, and as we did open on that last one, ooh, if we don't unhook it, we want to use the last of our headers to do that one, which gives us 3. Hook it from there, and then if you are following your pattern correctly, you will see that the last blue should be an open, so we know we are correct because we have to do one more blue and the next one we do is an open. So we followed along lovely, so we're just going to pop that one on there, and again we're going to snip our end and we're going to tie that. Now what I do is I just take off all my ends at this point, hook them together, and you'll have 2 that's above and 2 that's below from when we started off and where we finish off. So I'm just going to tie them together in the middle of your section. Doesn't really matter because, as I said, as it's the end section, just snip that short a minute, when you move around that will be the bit that you're cutting off anyway. Okay, so at this point you want to make sure everything's lined up. Just give this to make sure your headers are free moving and nothing's caught. Make sure these are all things, which they all look to be, and then you're going to untwist your tension rod wherever it is on here and just manoeuvre it so that you've got your good tension. Give it a good tight thing, and now you should be able to easily manoeuvre between your 2 types, creating your sheds. Now don't forget, at the beginning it's going to be a little messy, don't worry about that on both sheds because that's where you're starting, but that is how you set it up. So I will be back in a minute after I've got it started to show you what the speckled looks like, okay? So here we go. So I've woven some, so here is just the waist part where you start getting it in line, and then the setup part, and then here is where I've started the pattern. I've done the first repeat on it, so I've just done the first 12 lines, and you can see with the same width, the same weight yarn, it's a very subtle pattern, whereas if you use the thicker yarn the pattern pops out. So it depends on the look you're going for. In my original video you can see I used a thicker yarn so you can see how the pattern pops out on that video. With this one you can see what it looks like if you're using the same weight yarn. So it's just a much more subtle, but it's quite cool and I really like it. And I think hopefully that's helped you work out how to set up for the speckled. Any questions, pop them down in the comments and I will try to help. You will take care. Bye!